life-threatening matter. It's not clear where the Scorpion came from, but the aircraft had traveled from Costa Rica to Houston earlier that day.
KRMG's Tony Marino reporting. Well, Highway 151 is open, but you may face slowdowns crossing the Keystone Dam today.
Ongoing bridge maintenance at the Keystone Dam is resulting in lane closures and these slowdowns happening until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Be cautious of crews working near the dam on Highway 151. I'm Chase Thompson, News 102.3, KRMG.
Well, needle vending machines for IV drug users going up in Las Vegas.
They work like any other vending machine, but no money is required. Just push a button, and what you get are kits designed to stop the spread of infection among IV drug users. The syringes, there are 10 in each box. There is this rubber tourniquet. There is this needle disposal container. There have been independent needle exchange programs in the Valley, but this is the first to collaborate with the Southern Nevada Health District.
Paul Johnsich of Fox TV affiliate KLAS in Vegas. An Oklahoma woman says social media helped her find the owner of a wedding ring lost almost a decade ago.
Trisha O'Quinn says she saw a couple near her pond in Sayre who looked very upset. They left their contact information, but 6 months later, when she found the ring, she couldn't reach them. So she just tried again, this time using social media.
Nobody knows the story, that where it was lost and how it was lost, and it's going to catch the right person's eye.
And it did. O'Quinn says the owners were thrilled to get the ring back.
Fox 23 and KRMG's Michelle Lynn. Tulsa's most accurate and dependable 5-day forecast. The 3 big things you need to know, and the Rush Limbaugh Show next.
When severe weather hits Green Country,
the main threat from this storm was going to be hail, and it certainly lived up to its billing.
KRMG is there.
These storms are really booking through. I've got about marble-sized hail here in Sand Springs.
These storms can pop up just out of nowhere.
Tulsa Severe Weather Station is News 102.3 KRMG.
Listen, this whole do-it-yourself thing is fine for some projects, but when it comes to window coverings, not so much.
Tell me about it. I did some do-it-yourself shades that are best described as uneven and twisted.
Yeah, I've seen them. That's why I'm going with Budget Blinds.
That's a style and service for every budget people, right?
Yeah, and that is for real. Budget Blinds has no surprises pricing and a no questions asked warranty. The best in the business.
No surprises pricing and a no questions asked warranty?
No brainer, right?
So Budget Blinds comes in, measures everything, orders for you, then they install it all?
It's a beautiful thing. And now you can get up to $500 off on Signature Series window coverings.
Another no-brainer. Number, please.
855-BUDGET-BLINDS. Or go online to budgetblinds.com.
Call 855-BUDGET-BLINDS and get the experts to do it for you at a price that fits your budget.
Call 855-BUDGET-BLINDS now.
Offer good on selected products at participating independently owned and operated franchises only. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
Let's talk about great meetings. It was on this day in 1963. The Beatles met the Rolling Stones after a Stones concert in Richmond, England. Another great meeting is where selection meets savings at the all-new Jim Norton Chevy here in Broken Arrow. Here's Jim Norton's Casey Lane.
Hurry, shop over 150 Chevy trucks and buy yours starting at just $23,980. $23,980 buys a new 2017 Silverado LS, or buy a new 2017 Chevy Trax LS, now just $69. Plus, at the all-new Jim Norton Chevy in Broken Arrow, you always get a lifetime engine warranty and lifetime oil changes.
Come on, Tulsa, who does all that? Plus, all of our vehicles are singing that same Rolling Stones song, Start Me Up, right? So log on at JimNortonChevy.com for all the details. Hurry to the all-new Jim Norton Chevy in Broken Arrow, exit 145 off the BA.
Chevy, find new roads.
Jim Norton's Chevy.
Price plus TT&L and doc fee of $399. Silverado MSRP $30,905. Stock number 16169. Trax MSRP $21,935. Stock number 16228. Includes all applicable incentives. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Are you tired of high utility bills? I'm Keith at the Window Source, and I'll help you keep more money in your pocket instead of donating it to the utility company. Call me today for Energy Star Windows at a fraction of the cost. Get a price now at thewindowsourcetulsa.com.
Windy today, back up to 82. Tomorrow still breezy, increasing clouds, 82. Rain and thunderstorms likely tomorrow evening and especially tomorrow night and Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday wet, highs in the mid-70s, and we'll hold on to rain and thunderstorms Monday and Tuesday too. From Fox 23, I'm Chief Meteorologist James Adelot for News 102.3 KRMG.
At 11:06, mostly cloudy and 75 in Tulsa.
Now, the 3 big things you need to know.
3. Arkansas plans to execute 7 death row inmates deaths at a pace never seen since the U.S. Supreme Court reauthorized the death penalty in 1976. Democratic House Leader Nancy Pelosi wants Speaker Paul Ryan to call Congress back into session to debate escalating military engagements. An Afghan general says the death toll from the U.S. bomb in remote eastern Afghanistan is likely to rise. At 11:06, I'm April Hill on Tulsa's 24-hour news, weather, and traffic. News 102.3 KRMG.
I'm Dan Potter, host of the KRMG Morning News. You're listening to Tulsa's severe weather station, News 102.3 KRMG.
And I'm Fox 23 Chief Meteorologist James Adelot. Springtime in Oklahoma means severe weather. Our Storm Center team is staffed and ready to keep you updated every 15 minutes whenever severe weather is in the area or on the way.
Stay connected on air, online, and everywhere you go with the KRMG app.
Now, Rush Limbaugh on News 102.3 KRMG.
Greetings to you, music lovers, thrill seekers, conversationalists all across the fruited plain. We've come to the end of yet another busy broadcast week. That means it's Open Line Friday. Let's get started.
From sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
And whatever you want to ask, whatever you want to talk about, that's what Friday is all about. Here's the telephone number, 800-282-2882. If you want to send an email, lrushmo@eibnet.us. So I have some things left over from yesterday that I want to dig back into today. The top of that list, the Democrats are being introspective for the first time in a long time about why they keep losing. And man, oh man, Andrew Sullivan at, Andrew Sullivan at the, no, we'll put it somewhere else. Andrew Sullivan has a piece asking, why does everybody feel so sorry for Hillary Clinton? And it's a great question, and of course, it's a question I, El Rushmo, am capable, I'm qualified to answer. It's at New York Magazine. Why do Democrats feel sorry for Hillary Clinton? As opposed to blaming her for the loss. That's where he's going with it. And I, as the primary deconstructor of all things left and Democrat, can easily answer his question. And we've also got the continuation of palace intrigue in the White House. This is getting amazing. The various factions, who they are, what they are leaking. Just to give you a little hint, there is serious leaking that Trump is going to deploy anywhere from 50,000 to 150,000 troops to Syria, that this is going to happen at the behest of David Petraeus, who has lost his security clearance under Obama, but is heavily tight and influential with H.R. McMaster, and that Petraeus feels the job in Iraq was not done, that Bush ended things prematurely, that Obama made a mess of everything, and these military guys think the Middle East and ISIS and Syria, all of that, need to be cleaned up, cleaned out once and for all. And Steve Bannon doesn't want any of that. And so there are these factions in the White House arguing over these policies, and some people are not being permitted into the policy discussions. But that's what the palace intrigue is all about. So we will be delving into that as well. And it turns out, folks, I think it turns out here that good old Judge Napolitano was right. Remember when he said that it was a British spy agency that had been digging into Trump and collusion in Russia, and he goes on Fox and announces it, and everybody says, you're a nut, Judge. You just made it up. It isn't true. Fox suspends him for a while. He comes back, and after his suspension, he comes back and he keeps repeating it. And I'm saying, well, Judge, what are you doing here? They just suspended you for this, and now you're back, and it turns out it looks like he was right. British spies were the first to spot Trump team's leaks with Russia. And the very group that the judge cited is called GCHQ. That's the British spy agency here, said to have alerted U.S. agencies after becoming aware of contacts in 2015. Look, and that's in the UK Guardian. What is now been established? The world was spying on Donald Trump. Obama had seen to it After the Brits clued him in, I guess it's a timeline this story wants to advance. The world was spying on Trump. And even with all of that, Hillary couldn't win. Even with the establishment of the world aligned against Donald Trump and in support of Hillary Clinton, she couldn't win. Now, as best I have been able to determine, and I will explain all this as the program unfolds, all of the spying on Trump was not done to prevent him from winning, because at the time it was happening, nobody thought he would win. They were trying to impress Hillary. For when she became president, to be able to say, look what we were able to do for you. It was also something that could be used to further damage any other Republicans that ever wanted to run for president by saying, look what they do. By linking Trump to virtually every Republican. So all this stuff happened. This makes it even more fascinating to me. That all of this intel gathering, all of this spying on Trump took place not to stop him because they didn't think he was going to win. It was all done for other reasons, and among them to set these people up to be looked upon favorably by Mrs. Clinton and her campaign and then her administration. They never once gave thought to the fact that Trump was going to win, but the way it ends up here, we know that Obama released intel data gathered by domestic agencies to 16 other intel agencies, including many foreign countries around the world, making sure that whatever was dug up and learned about Trump. And there's another thing. They found nothing. The world was investigating Donald Trump and his collusion to Russia for over a year and a half, and they found nothing. Believe me, if they would have found it, we would have heard about it in late October when they started to get worried that the NBC tape didn't take Trump out of the race. If they had found anything, we would have heard it by now. They got zilch, folks. Zilch, zero, nada, and yet they won't give it up. They're continuing because why, Andrew Sullivan asks, why do Democrats feel sorry for Hillary Clinton? That's so easy. He's frustrated by it. I mean, I can understand. There are a lot of Democrats think that she's the reason that they lost because she didn't try hard, because she's not competent. She's demonstrated over and over she's a lousy candidate. She was only the Democrats' choice because there really wasn't anybody else. And it was her turn. Everybody figures she was owed a debt for making sure that Bill Clinton's career was not derailed by his own peccadillos. By her hanging in there. They gave her health care to fix it. Reform. She made a mess of that. She made a mess of the bimbo eruptions thing. After losing to Obama in the 2008 primaries, she rigged the game in 2012 so that no other challenger would get anywhere, including Crazy Bernie. And that was really the only election fraud that occurred in 2016 was Hillary and Debbie Blemmer-Schultz rigging it against Crazy Bernie. But they had to rig it so that there wasn't a surprise person like Obama was a surprise in 2008. She never has. I mean, the Senate seat in New York, if you're a Democrat running for the Senate, you can't lose. I mean, no matter who you are. You can't. There just aren't enough Republican votes to defeat you no matter, so you can win anything. Winning the Senate seat in New York, that doesn't recommend her for running for further higher office, because that was an automatic, that was a given. Sullivan's right. I mean, why are we wasting time here trying to find blame and why she's a victim? If we don't get this right, if we don't correctly identify where we went wrong, we're toast for a long time. And that's what, there are 2 or 3 additional stories where the Democrats are starting to get introspective. In other words, asking what they have done wrong. You never see this, which is why I'm kind of interested in it. Take a look at it. Try this. You know, the deep state is in a state of panic over the arrival of Donald Trump. The deep state at the EPA is digging in, and they're refusing to implement any of the new EPA policies that the new director and Trump want to implement. It's the same thing at, Department of Labor. Apparently, at the Department of Labor, the Obama embeds over there are practically insane and have mounted a resistance campaign within the Department of Labor to oppose anything coming down the pike. It's eventually going to blow up on them, but I mean, they're just still in a state of panic and denial. Now, back to the EPA. Try this headline. This is from the Washington Examiner. Pruitt ends EPA gym memberships. Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Scott Pruitt said yesterday the days of gym memberships being paid for by the American taxpayer are over. He was on Fox and Friends, where he was asked about documents released on Wednesday that show that EPA employees spent more than $15,000 on memberships to various gyms outside of the free service they were already given. I guess they have the EPA gym, the workout area, but some of them wanted to go bigger than that, and so they did, and they charged it off to the American taxpayer, and this guy says those days are over. You already provide gym membership and service here at the EPA, and you're not going to go out and get supplemental and have it paid for. And they're livid and outraged in the deep state of the EPA. You want to know how sick and perverted they're making our college students? This is from Heat Street. College students are now taking short, cold showers to prevent climate change. An offshoot of Indiana University's student government is urging students to take short, cold showers to save the planet. Living sustainably is one of the easiest things you can do. The head of the Students Association newly founded Sustainability Department told the newspaper, turn off your lights, unplug your electric devices, take shorter cold showers. Maybe some people are deterred by that, but as time progresses, these issues are going to become much more pressing and much more internationally important. These kids don't realize that this stuff has been going on for decades. How many times over the course of our lives have we been told, look what they did to the toilet from 6 gallons to 1.5. You just have to flush it 3 or 4 times, depending on who you are. And then you have all of these recommendations. Don't take long showers, take cold. No, there's nothing new here. And while some fanatics have already implemented stupid things like the shorter cold water showers, the complaints of climate change have not abated. All the electric cars people are driving, it's not changing anything. Climate change is becoming worse. When are these kids going to learn that no matter how much of the advice is given that they follow and take, it isn't going to change anything? It isn't going to save the planet. Because hot showers are not destroying the planet. Hot water is not destroying the planet. But that's beyond the point. The point is that for 30 or 40 years, people have already begun to behave in these ways and drive these so-called clean energy cars. And all during that period of time, the global warming activists continue to tell us that climate change is getting worse. In other words, none of the efforts that anybody have made to reduce carbon footprints is ever given any credit. Nothing anybody has done or is doing is ever credited as helping. At some point, after 30 years of following all these silly guidelines, you would expect there to be a noticeable reduction in the warming of the planet. Oh, there has been that. Does it strike you strange that the global warming crowd, with all of these mandates and all these behavioral tips, doesn't want to take credit for it? They don't want to take credit for the fact the planet hasn't warmed in 15 years? They're looking for excuses to explain it rather than take credit for it. If they were smart, they'd be taking credit for the temperature not having increased and then saying, see, we need to do more of what we have been suggesting. Thank God they're not that smart.
He doesn't hold back. The news you need to know. Rush on the EIB network.
Harp Service Company, electrical, plumbing, heating, and cooling for your business and home. Harp on, job done.
Now, the 3 big things you need to know.
3. An apology from an Oklahoma House staffer who sent an email calling visiting LGBTQ students from Tulsa cross-dressers.
2.
An Oklahoma man with 4 DUIs now faces a second murder charge in what police say was a deadly alcohol-related collision on New Year's Eve in Canadian County.
1.
A Facebook Live video shows a man using profanity during a conversation with a Tulsa police officer. More of the Rush Limbaugh Show coming up in 4 minutes. I'm April Hill on News 102.3 KRMG.
We tell you the 3 big things you need to know every 15 minutes.
Plus, your extended 5-day forecast 4 times an hour on the KRMG Morning and Evening News on News 102.3 KRMG.
Hey, folks, it's officially tulip season at 1-800-Flowers.com. These gorgeous tulips have just arrived in time for Easter at a truly unbeatable price. Right now, 1-800-Flowers is giving you a 30 for 30 offer. 30 assorted tulips for just $30. That's only $1 per tulip. With a bright and beautiful mix of orange, yellow, and pink blooms, these assorted tulips are perfect for surprising loved ones for Easter, spring birthdays, or even just because. 30 assorted tulips, only $30. It's an amazing offer, but it expires Friday. You have to hurry. To order 30 stunning assorted tulips for only $30, just go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter the code RUSH. That's 1-800-Flowers.com. Remember to click on the radio icon, enter my name, RUSH. But hurry, because this offer from 1-800-Flowers ends Friday.
It's happening to you every night. One snores, and the other can't sleep. It seems like there's no end to it. But now, there is a quick and easy-to-use solution. A natural solution. Snore Stop. Snore Stop was created and tested by a team of physicians and has been helping couples sleep for over 18 years. It is the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S.
Thank you, Snore Stop. You saved my marriage.
Snore Stop sprays or tablets are now available nationwide at Rite Aid and CVS. Or you can go online at snorestop.com. Don't wait. It's time to try Snore Stop and make every night a better night for both of you.
Thanks, Snore Stop. Now I'm back in the bedroom.
So don't wait. Try Snore Stop, the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S. Spray or tablets are available today at Rite Aid and CVS or online at snorestop.com. That's snorestop.com. Snore Stop, keeping you together. Hear news, weather, and traffic on demand on the new KRMG.com.
My troubles with the IRS began when my marriage basically was coming to an end. Attorneys got involved, and of course when you get a divorce attorney, the bills pile up really quick. So I used a lot of my 401k savings and my personal savings, and I did not pay the IRS. About 3+ years of not paying the IRS, the debt got pretty high, well over $30,000. I made the phone call to Travis. It was almost like an immediate emotional relief that I had hired somebody that I felt I could trust. My nightmare, 3 years with the IRS, was now coming to an end. It felt so good that my debt had gone from almost $40,000 to a little over $2,000. Whether it be luck or fate, finding Travis was a godsend. The man's genuine. He's 100% true to what he says he does every single day.
It's your IRS weapon, Travis Watkins. Get to know me and my Tulsa team at 918-877-2794 or taxhelpok.com. That's taxhelpok.com.
Smith Farm and Garden has been providing premium outdoor power equipment products to Oklahomans since 1959, like the ever-reliable Honda lineup of products. Whether your needs are for lawn care and the ever-popular HRX series of lawnmowers or the super quiet selection of Honda trimmers, now offering the Versatach series with interchangeable attachments for versatility, or maybe a Honda generator for recreation or home backup power when you need it. Smith Farm and Garden can supply all of your needs, so come out and see us for all your Honda needs at our new modern facility at 56 in South Garnett today.
April 1st through 15th, Wild Birds Unlimited in the Kings Point Village Shopping Center at 61st in Yale has all feeders and hardware 20% off. This is a good time to clean up or replace any old feeders you have. Don't forget, this month, hummingbirds are coming back to our area. Create a refuge in your backyard with Wild Birds Unlimited in the Kings Point Village Shopping Center at 61st in Yale.
It's time to update your bookmarks. We just gave KRMG.com a makeover, and if we do say so ourselves, it looks awesome. News, weather, and traffic. Jamie Dupree, the 3 big things you need to know. Listening live and more. Built to fit on the device of your choosing. The new and improved KRMG.com. Go check it out right now.
You know, I don't know about the Earth's environment, whether it's sustainable or not, but I'll tell you what is sustainable, and that's stupidity. We're doing the greatest job of sustaining stupidity in this country. It's as though we're trying to. I'm not going to take any more hot showers because I'm trying to save the planet. Hey, you kids, when you move back home with your parents, when you graduate college, keep using the cold water. Your parents will be happy that you're saving them some money. But that's about all you'll be doing. Okay, to the stack of stuff here on what's going on in the White House. And as part of the stack, there's a New York Times story. And it actually was written following what happened on this program yesterday. Remember, I opened the program asking a number of you Trump supporters if you starting to feel betrayed over Trump flip-flopping apparently on the Export-Import Bank and what you think he said about not intervening militarily in other countries like Syria and tricoms and currency manipulation. The New York Times obviously was listening because they based a story around the whole premise. And the headline focused on Trump's successes. Many supporters are unfazed by his reversals. As some on the right howled about a series of reversals by President Trump on a number of his campaign promises, Rush Limbaugh asked his listeners on Thursday whether any of that flip-flopping really mattered. And they quote me accurately here as saying, see what Jeff Sessions is doing? Mr. Limbaugh said to the Attorney General, answering his own question, damn straight, they quote me as saying. Have you seen what the job situation is? Have you seen what the economic forecasts in the future are? He went on. The sentiment that Mr. Limbaugh was homing in on, the undented confidence that many Trump supporters have in the president as a get-things-done leader and deal-maker is the reason many conservatives say they don't think Trump will suffer. This story reeks with disappointment. The New York Times went out and sought Trump supporters who were angry and seething and ready to throw him overboard already on the basis that he had lied to them or had misled them by saying what they wanted to hear during the campaign, and in less than 100 days reversing himself. People are even talking about this giant missile that we dropped on ISIS yesterday. Wait till you hear the typical liberal reaction to that. It's coming up. And the media has gone out of its way to try to find people angry over Trump doing this. People that voted for Trump. If you go back, and I'm trying even to remind many of you of this, you Trump supporters, defeating ISIS was one of the top 10 often repeated campaign promises that Trump made. And I wouldn't even call it a campaign promise. It was an assurance. He said within 30 days, he's going to ask his military people to come up with a great plan, the greatest plan that there's ever been, the greatest plan ever to take out ISIS. Well, apparently that plan was sought, and apparently that plan has been presented, and now they're acting on it. This, at least, is an instance where Trump is doing everything he promised he would do. The only thing that he didn't say was when he would do it. And that, of course, is strategic. He doesn't believe the enemy should be informed in advance of when we're going to hit them. He thinks it's very stupid and dumb to do it like Obama did. In fact, you got to love Trump. He even said of his giant bomb that was deployed yesterday on that ISIS tunnel, he's out there saying, this shows the biggest difference between me and Obama in the last 8 years. And he's exactly right. You don't have presidents talking that way very much. Grab soundbite number one. We can squeeze part of this in before the break.
We are so proud of our military, and it was another successful event.
Did you authorize it, sir?
Everybody knows exactly what happened. And what I do is I authorize my military. We have the greatest military in the world, and they've done a job as usual. So we have given them total authorization, and that's what they're doing. And frankly, that's why they've been so successful lately. If you look at what's happened over the last 8 weeks and compare that to what's happened over the last 8 years, you'll see there's a tremendous difference.
Big difference between me and Obama. But the point he's making, they asked, did you order the bomb dropped? And Trump wouldn't say he did. He said, I got confidence in my generals.
News 102.3 Tulsa's 24-hour news, weather, and traffic. The home of the three big things you need to know. On air, online at krmg.com, and now on every device. With the News 102.3 KRMG app. Tulsa's news starts now.
The president says the bombing in Afghanistan draws a clear difference between him and Obama.
After a windy day today, rain and thunderstorm chances picking up. I'll let you know what parts of green country could see a slight risk for a severe storm. From Fox 23, I'm Chief Meteorologist James Adelot.
A couple of wrecks getting cleaned up from earlier this morning at 42nd and Yale and 26th and Harvard.
At 11:31, we have mostly cloudy skies now and 75 in Tulsa. From the KRMG 24-hour Fox News Center, I'm April Hill with team coverage of our top national story.
The first 100 days of President Trump.
President Donald Trump sending a loud and clear message to the international community.
That he's willing to act fast and take aggressive military action in a way that his predecessor was not. The difference, though, this week is that big bomb was dropped just 2 days before the biggest holiday in North Korea, a day that historically North Korea likes to use as an occasion to carry out weapons tests. Factor in what Leader Kim Jong-un told reporters yesterday to prepare for a big and important event, and you can see why there is a great deal of concern that North Korea may try to conduct its 6th nuclear test over the next 24 hours.
Fox's Kristen Fisher at President Trump's resort in Palm Beach, Florida. Team coverage, Senator James Lankford believes Thursday's U.S. strike in Afghanistan did exactly what was intended.
In response to an embedded group of ISIS fighters that are there, that are forming tunnels, that are forming networks.
Lankford told us ISIS used the caves and tunnels to hide and ambush American forces. The Pentagon reports 30 Islamic State fighters died in the attack, at least with no civilian casualties. Well, this weekend's things to do list is full of Easter events, but that's not all.
It all begins with a name you know, but you might not know them like this. That's Billy Bob Thornton and the Boxmasters. They play the Hard Rock Casino tonight at 8 o'clock. On Saturday, Jeff Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy are at the BOK at 7:30.
You know you're getting older when you open the bathroom door and you say to somebody, that's where the magic happens.
Also Saturday, Jinx hosts their Urban Plant Festival from 8 to 4 downtown. I'm Rick Corey. Find these and other things going on at the events guide. It's under the Inside tab on the new KRMG.com and on the KRMG app.
Tulsa's most accurate and dependable 5-day forecast. The 3 big things you need to know, and rush on liberal reaction after the bomb dropped in Afghanistan next.
The KRMG Morning News with Dan Potter.
We checked the flight board at Tulsa International Airport a short time ago. Only 2 United flights affected.
Herman Cain, Rush Limbaugh.
Your intention to always tell the truth from that podium.
Did we tune in at the right time or what?
Is it hard to do this?
Sean Hannity. The KRMG Evening News with Dick Lofton.
Several Obama administration officials will be held over to the Trump administration.
Clark Howard, Kilmeade and Friends. Listen live. The iHeartRadio app. Download for both Apple and Android today.
Subaru is named the best-selling all-wheel drive cars in America for the past 6 years. And you can experience these best-selling all-wheel drive cars at Ferguson Subaru state-of-the-art dealership across from Bass Pro. Ferguson Subaru in Broken Arrow is celebrating all month during their grand opening celebration. Purchase any new Subaru this month during Ferguson's grand opening, and Ferguson will add a factory remote start for free. With a free remote start, you'll never have to wait for your car to get cool in the summer or warm in the winter. Come experience the difference and trust a Subaru makes with their legendary road-gripping symmetrical all-wheel drive. No other car on the planet has it, and you'll see why Subaru is loved and trusted as the best all-wheel drive leader for Oklahoma's wet, dry snow, or ice. Don't miss Ferguson Subaru's grand opening celebration just off the BA at the Elm Place exit across from Bass Pro, or find them at FergusonSubaru.com. Claim based on IHS Market Total. Registrations among all-wheel drive vehicles from 2007 to 2016.
We got what you're looking for. Ferguson Superstore.
Did you know because most commercial metal roofs have exposed fasteners, they need attention about every 7 years? Hi, I'm Becky Dixon for A-Best Roofing. A-Best has special coatings that not only help your metal roof last longer, but they're also reflective, which may save on utilities. If you have a metal roof, call my friends at A-Best for a digital analysis today.
We'll roof your home the right way. The A-Best way. A-Best Roofing.
Hold on tight today. It'll be breezy, high temp 82, mostly sunny. Tomorrow, increasing clouds and 82. A few pop-up thunderstorms late afternoon. Thunderstorms likely tomorrow night and Easter Sunday. 74 Easter, but it'll be a wet day, and we'll hold on to some shower chances Monday and Tuesday. From Fox 23, I'm Chief Meteorologist James Adelot for News 102.3 KRMG.
At 11:35, mostly cloudy and 75 in Tulsa.
Now, the 3 big things you need to know.
3. Protesters about to converge on Little Rock, hoping to stop 7 executions scheduled to happen over 11 days. North Korea's vice foreign minister is warning that his country is ready to launch a preemptive strike if the U.S. shows any sign of military aggression. The Pentagon says the U.S. commander in Afghanistan who ordered the bomb didn't need approval in advance from President Donald Trump. At 11:36, I'm April Hill on News 102.3 KRMG.
We tell you the 3 big things you need to know every 15 minutes.
Plus weather and traffic together every 6 minutes on the KRMG Morning and Evening News on News 102.3 KRMG.
All right, it's Open Line Friday. Rush Limbaugh behind the golden EIB microphone at 800-282-2882. Here, no. Gotta go to line... is line 4 ready to go? All right, we're going to Chris here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Chris, you're first. That means you got to set the tone for the rest of the day when it comes to callers. That means you got to be good and interesting and compelling. Can you do it? Testing, hello, are you there?
Oh, can you hear me?
I do now, yeah.
Okay. Rush, thank you for taking my phone call. I appreciate it. My question to you is, do you think Steve Bannon's time is limited in the White House with the current issues that Trump is facing from mainstream Republicans? I mean, I understand Steve Bannon got a core group of individuals to vote for Trump and set his base for his ideals. But do you think that time is coming to an end? Do you think he'll stick around for the full 4 years?
Well, now, that's a different question. There's a bunch of questions you could ask. Do I think Bannon will be there 4 years? No, but only because very few White House aides last that long. The press secretary is not going to be there 4 years. The Clinton and Obama press secretaries were not there 4 years. You start getting into year 4 and you get into the re-election, that's when people start bailing. Now, and I'm just giving you that statistically. I'm not answering whether or not Bannon will make 4 years based on what's happening now.
Right.
I'm basing it purely on the statistical record of the movement in and out of an administration by aides. Let's take this. I think what you really mean, you're asking me, is Trump going to fire him or is he going to quit? One of the two things, right? Based on what's happening now. Folks, I've never seen, I went by, saw some people last night after the program that I haven't seen in a while, and I made an observation to them. I have never seen a presidential aide or advisor so focused on, so often reported on as Steve Bannon. I've never seen it. I can't think of any presidential advisor who, by the way, where the subject of the reporting is, will this guy last? Can we get rid of this guy? Is this guy losing the power struggle? Now, one of my beliefs, one of my theorems that I have evolved over the years is that when it comes to Democrats and the media, they will always tell us who they fear, and all we have to do to learn that is look at who they're trying to damage and or destroy. And it is clear that they are scared to death of Steve Bannon. Now you have to ask why. What is it about Bannon that scares them? Well, the answers, many of them are obvious. He has a disdain for the establishment. He has a disdain for everything the establishment holds dear, such as globalism, a singular, powerful world government in which the United States is an eager participant. He opposes, it's not just the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower warned about. The governing complex today is military, industrial, financial, and media. It's not just military and government. It's now investment banks, big-time Wall Street money, such as Goldman Sachs. Do you know that you'd have to go back a long way to find a presidential administration that has not had somebody from Goldman Sachs in it? Either a chairman or a president or a trader or somewhere. You'd have to go back a long time to find that. The media, they are, of course, not at the table per se, but they may as well be. The military, the generals, and so forth. Bannon opposes all of this. Bannon thinks that's why the United States is mired in the muck that it's in. He opposes all of it. And Trump gave the impression that he opposes all of it during the campaign. Then Trump names Bannon as the CEO of the campaign. So that puts Bannon's fingerprints on the campaign. And then after he wins the presidency, Trump makes him the chief strategist. Well, Bannon is an outsider. He has worked at Goldman Sachs himself, but it's not something that he trades on the way he would if he were liberal and trying to get on with Democrat administrations. He's done many other varied things. But Bannon represents everything the left and the establishment hates, and because he has Trump's ear, and because they think Trump is influenced by the last person he talks to. This is something very important for everybody to understand. People we're talking about here, the media, the Washington establishment, they are not impressed with Donald Trump's intellect. They believe that Trump is easily manipulated. They believe that Trump will believe and be influenced by the last person he talks to on an issue. So if Trump is worried about what to do about the Chinese currency manipulation, if the last person he talks to is Jared Kushner, and Jared Kushner says something that is impressive to Trump, then that's what Trump will believe. That's what they believe. And since Bannon is close and the chief strategist, they think Bannon is often the last guy Trump talks to. They also believe that Trump has a very fragile and thin ego. So they set in motion, and this is true, they set in motion a plan to make Trump angry at Bannon by putting Bannon on the cover of Time magazine as the real brains behind the administration. Saturday Night Live did the same thing. This was a coordinated effort designed to make Trump jealous and angry. They want Trump to say, I'm the top dog. Bannon's not. Bannon doesn't mean anything. I'm the guy that's making... They think Trump's ego is that shallow and flexible that he can be manipulated in that way. And they're now thinking that it's right because of what Trump is saying about Bannon to Michael Goodwin in the New York Post. Yeah, I don't know Steve all that. Well, he came to my campaign really late after I'd beaten everybody. I mean, I'd practically won the nomination. He comes on in August. Look, I'm my own strategist. I don't need to talk to us. So to me, aha, they say, we are having success. We are distancing Trump from Bannon. Because part of it is jealousy. I mean, they all wish they were that close to a president. To them, Bannon's a pig, and he's a slothful pig. I mean, the guy ran the Breitbart website. Look at him. How can a guy like that... What's his pedigree? He didn't come from the chain of command you have to come from to get that close to power. There's all kinds of personal, it's professional, and it's obvious that they are desperately worried about the guy because they think it is crucially important to get him out of Trump's sphere of influence. So the question now becomes, is what we're hearing about Bannon being on thin ice, is it true? You want to see this as a political story. It's gone to the completely fully insane now. There is a long story in the Politico today. It might be with their magazine, I forget which. And the top half of the web page when you log on is a close-up of Bannon, who does not look good. And the headline is, I'm paraphrasing, but it's close to this. If Trump fires Bannon, will Bannon seek revenge? It is a story of all the things Bannon has done to get even with people who he has fired, who has mistreated, or what have you. And it quotes people that have been fired by Bannon or quit Bannon, and they detail what he does to get even with them. It's incredible. So they make it look like Trump might be afraid to fire Bannon because look at what this guy's capable of doing. And I'll tell you what the purpose of this story is. I can tell you right now what the purpose of the story is. This headline, if Steve Bannon gets fired, will he seek revenge? This story is aimed right at Donald Trump. What they want Trump's reaction to be, you kidding? You mean you think I'm afraid to fire Bannon because I'm afraid of what Bannon might do? Oh, yeah? Well, take a look at They're trying to engineer Bannon being fired. To answer your question, I don't think Bannon will be fired. I don't think it at all. Now, if a decision is made by Trump that he doesn't want Bannon there, he will do things that make Bannon quit. But he will not fire him. I mean, you don't need that. I mean, here you hailed a guy after the campaign as your CEO of the campaign. You make him the primo number one strategist in less than 100 days. You blow the guy out. In the midst of all these stories, you let the media have a scalp. Just don't see it happening. But, and I don't know, folks, but if Donald Trump wishes that Bannon wasn't around, then might engage in behavior, say things to the media that would so irritate Steve Bannon that he resigns. But then Bannon's smart enough to know all this too. This takes us to the other side of the administration and who's orchestrating all this stuff against Bannon. And we know who that is, or we think we do. And all of this palace intrigue is all focused. You notice nobody's leaking anything about Kellyanne Conway. You notice nobody's leaking anything about Gary Cohn. You notice nobody's leaking anything about Dina Powell. You notice nobody's leaking anything about Ivanka. You notice that nobody's leaking anything about Jared Kushner. Well, I take that back. There was a story yesterday in the Washington, and it was fascinating. The story in the Washington Free Beacon yesterday was a giant hit piece on little Jared. This story was all about how this 36-year-old punk is trying to take over the entire National Security Council. And who the heck does he think he is? This story obviously was planted. You know, this is an intricately woven web of deceit in here, and winding your way through it is a difficult thing to do. And so all you can do is use intelligence guided by experience. And when it comes to the direct question, would Bannon be fired? You know, with an asterisk that I don't really know, I'm just wild guessing, but I would say no based on all of the information I provided up to this point. But with this crowd, things can happen. I think that's part of their strength, is the unpredictability, and you never know what's coming next. It keeps everybody off balance, which is, I think, a position Trump likes. Anyway, I have to take a break here, folks. Open Line Friday will continue. We come back right after this.
America's Anchorman, Rush, on the EIB Network.
Harp Service Company, electrical, plumbing, heating, and cooling for your business and home. Harp on, job done.
Now, the three big things you need to know.
Three. A proposal to allow science teachers to teach creationism alongside evolution passes an Oklahoma House Committee. 2. 3 people are killed in a shooting this morning in Coffeyville, Kansas. 1. A man who threatened the Tulsa District Attorney and Officer Betty Shelby gets a year in jail. More of the Rush Limbaugh Show coming up in 4 minutes. I'm April Hill on News 102.3 KRMG.
We tell you the three big things you need to know every 15 minutes.
Plus, ways to keep more money in your wallet with me, your consumer warrior, Clark Howard, exclusively on News 102.3 KRMG.
Are you still paying off your student loans? Let me tell you about SoFi.com. Refinancing with SoFi.com can significantly lower the interest rate on your student loans. Now, many SoFi.com members cut their current rate by as much as half. It saved them thousands. In fact, the average SoFi.com member saves over $19,000. Lots of members use the monthly savings to pay off their loans quicker, getting out of their student loan debt years early. Now, whether you have government or private student loans, SoFi.com can consolidate your loans into one simple loan. And best of all, it takes less than a couple of minutes to find out just how much you can save. All you have to do is go to trysofi.com. Checking your new rate will not affect your credit score. There's never any fees or obligation, and you can start saving thousands by investing just a couple of minutes at trysofi.com. That's trysofi.com. One more time, trysofi.com.
CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, they all want to destroy President Trump. Now, one book tells the truth about our president. It's David Horowitz's Big Agenda. It's already 8 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, but the media are censoring Big Agenda. That's why you need to get it. Newsmax says it's the most important Trump book yet. Find it at bookstores everywhere, or check out our free offer. Call 800-NEWSMAX, 800-NEWSMAX, or go to bigagenda411.com. That's bigagenda411.com.
How's that kitchen remodel coming along?
I haven't found a reliable contractor and have no idea where to start.
What about Home Advisor?
Home what?
Home Advisor. They match you to pre-screened and top-rated pros for any kind of home project. You can even check pricing and book appointments online.
What's the catch?
No catch. Home Advisor is completely free to use.
Really? I'll check it out. Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor. We are Tulsa's severe weather station, News 102.3 KRMG.
Hi, this is Greg with your Oklahoma Men's Clinic, inviting you to get your intimacy back. Just a $199 office visit guarantees you'll see results that same day or there's no charge. That's right. A guaranteed solution to your ED problem is just a phone call or a click away. Quit suffering and start enjoying your life again. Simply give us a call at 918-921-9898. That's 921-9898. Or on the web at tulsamen.com. tulsamen.com. Remember, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Home values have increased as much as 20%, meaning you have equity in your home. If you're thinking about refinancing your mortgage to cash out that equity, make sure you don't pay any closing costs. I'm Robert Palmer, president of RP Funding, home of the no closing cost refinance. Whether you need the equity from your home to pay off credit cards, student loans, or for home improvements, I'll pay all your closing costs when you refinance with RP Funding. Call 855-773-8634. That's 855-773-8634.
In MLS 7168.
The mother of all bombs has dropped in Afghanistan.
Dropped on a series of ISIS-K complexes.
The United States takes the fight against ISIS very seriously.
Whatever happens next, you'll hear it here.
And in order to defeat the group, we must deny them operational space.
This is where Tulsa turns first for breaking news. News 102.3 KRMG.
Okay, let me give you some headlines here. That New York Times headline that we just delved into. Focused on Trump's successes, many supporters are unfazed by his reversals, and the story begins with a quote of your beloved host. At Washington Post, within Trump's inner circle, a moderate voice captures the president's ear, parentheses, we hope. And this is about Gary Cohn, the Goldman Sachs trader, liberal Democrat, and his buddy and partner, Dina Powell. They're not married. She's married somebody else, but they are a duo in there from Goldman Sachs. They're Democrats. They're the globalists that Bannon keeps talking about, along with Jared Kushner and Ivanka, about whom, if you really want to get into this, about whom it is said Jared and Ivanka want to get control of the Trump presidency because they care about what's written about them in New York Magazine and Vogue. I am not, folks, I'm just telling you what I hear. I've not read this. There are people who are telling me that Ivanka and Jared actually think of themselves as the first couple because of their youth and their age and their generation, and that whatever their dad does reflects on them, and they want to have influence over what their dad does so that what is reflected on them will make them cool and hip to their fellow millennials. Up to you to decide whether there's anything to this. But this is among the countless stories going around, such as this Washington Post story. Within Trump's inner circle, voice captures the president's ear. Oh, let me circle back to Ivanka and Jared. Have you heard that the reason that we sent the 59 Tomahawks into Syria is because Ivanka reportedly was brokenhearted over the pictures? Okay, so if you've heard that, and that's not an obscure, off-the-wall piece, that's been in mainstream pieces, then is it hard to believe that Ivanka and Jared would want to try to control as much of the presidency as possible so that it reflects well on them and what they believe? I mean, after all, if your dad were president, and you're in there in the White House every day, do you think you just sit by, let Dad do what he does? Or would you try to influence Dad? Just putting it out there to ponder. Anyway, this Washington Post piece, as power struggles and ideological battles engulf the White House, an unlikely player is exercising new influence on the direction of President Trump's regime. Gary Cohn, a former Goldman Sachs president, is capitalizing on his new position as director of Trump's National Economic Council to push a centrist vision, a moderating vision, and bipartisan support on some of Trump's top agenda items, such as tax reform and the infrastructure plan. A growing strength of Cohn and like-minded moderates was on display this week as Trump reversed himself on several high-profile issues. Okay, so who leaked this? Who arranged for this story to get published? Well, I'll guarantee you this, the Washington Post loved printing it. Anything that they could do to say that Bannon's losing power, anything they can do to say that Trump is now normalizing and becoming more like an establishment president, they eat it up. Anything they can do to neuter Trump. I'm even on page 3 of this story. Rush Limbaugh, however, last week called Gary Cohn a very ideological liberal Democrat and a traitor at Goldman Sachs. Limbaugh expressed concern that Cohn and his allies in the White House are starting to have sway at Bannon's expense. I don't know that I said that specifically, but I did acknowledge the effort to bring that about is certainly happening.
This is the big one. Rush on the EIB network.
News 102.3 and AM 740 KRMG. 75 degrees.
Prices are for base buildings only. Do not include windows, doors, or accessories. Warning. Don't let your business get left behind in what is likely to be the biggest economic boom in recent history. If you need to build to grow your business, call General Steel today. Steel prices are expected to rise, but you can still lock in your price on a General Steel building if you call now. For example, a 40 by 60 foot building is still less than $25,000. Even an 80 by 150 foot building is under $99,000. Imagine 12,000 square feet for under $99,000. This building is designed for your needs, no wasted space. And you get the General's quality and 50-year structural warranty at a price you can afford. You can still save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction by calling General Steel today. As much as half. So don't let rising steel prices put your project out of reach and stop you from making your company great. Call now. 800-98-STEEL. It's not too late. Call 800-98-STEEL today. That's 800-987-8335.
This is where Tulsa turns first for breaking news. News 102.3 KRMG.
Spring is in full bloom at Riddle Plant Farm, and tomorrow is open house at the Broken Arrow location, where they are overflowing with hanging baskets, combo planters, annuals, perennials, and Alan Storjahan will be there. You'll find all your gardening needs, plus great weekly specials at Riddle, where quality shines through in everything they sell. Don't miss open house at Riddle Plant Farm tomorrow, 41st and 193rd in Broken Arrow. If you can't make it to Broken Arrow, visit them at 3510 Summit Boulevard in Sand Springs.
Let's be honest for a moment. Life has hit you with painful setbacks, like your tax problem. But here's the truth. You are not your problems. So take charge. Talk to the people at Roderick H. Polston, Oklahoma's largest tax resolution firm. Go to IRSHelpOklahoma.com or call 918-551-7060. The law offices of Rod Polston.
Your tax problems don't care who you are, but we do.
Why have people shopped Classic Chevrolet for over 30 years? It's the customer experience.
It's knowing you won't be hassled while shopping. It's knowing our award-winning service department is here when you need it.
It's knowing our entire inventory is online at the most transparent price in town.
We don't want to just sell you a car. We want to help you buy a car.
Classic Chevrolet in Owasso, where a handshake matters. Visit us online at ClassicChevrolet.net.
People all over Oklahoma are protecting their comfort and security by calling Oklahoma's #1 Generac generator dealer, Faith Electric. Your new Generac generator from Faith Electric will run until power returns, whether that's 2 hours or 2 weeks. Call for a free estimate, 918-500-7173 or Google FaithElectric.com.
Victory Christian Center invites you to celebrate Easter with them as they follow the life of Simon Peter and his journey with Christ in this year's captivating production of 33 AD. Performances run Friday through Sunday. For additional information, log on to victory.com.
From the Ferguson Buick GMC Studios, KRMG FM Sand Springs, KRMG Tulsa. Fox News is next on News 102.3 KRMG, KRMG.com, and the KRMG app.
Easter is this Sunday. Add warmth to your table and fill your Easter baskets with decor and fun items from The Perfect Touch. The newest Vera Bradley pattern, Santiago, is in, and The Perfect Touch has new tops from Southern Grace featuring comfort and beautiful messages. Choose a Brighton Cristo cuff in gold or silver with interchangeable straps in all new spring colors. Easter and spring are in full swing at The Perfect Touch gift store, 91st and Yale.
Perfect Touch. News 102.3, Tulsa's 24-hour news, weather, and traffic. The home of the three big things you need to know. On air, online at krmg.com, and now on every device with the News 102.3 KRMG app. Tulsa's news starts
now. The international community reacts to the U.S. bombing.
Still packing a windy afternoon, but I'll walk you through weekend rain chances, including Easter Sunday. For Fox 23, I'm Chief Meteorologist James Adelot.
Got a non-injury wreck working this hour on 81st, just a little bit east of Riverside.
At 12:01, we have partly cloudy skies now, 78 in Tulsa. From the KRMG 24-hour Fox News Center, I'm April Hill with team coverage of our top international story. Russia, Syria, and Iran are warning the U.S. against launching new strikes on Syria. The Russian foreign minister is hosting his Iranian and Syrian counterparts at a meeting in Moscow, denouncing this American attack on a Syrian air base by saying it's flagrant violation of international law.
The meeting is really seen as a signal to the world that the three countries remain strong allies and that there was no plan for them to change direction. In fact, the Syrians even went as far as to blame the U.S. for the breakdown of any peace process.
Fox's Benjamin Hall reporting. The deadline to file your tax return is sneaking up. Even so, Catherine Pickering with H&R Block tells us millions of Americans still aren't ready. If you're one of those, she has some advice.
Talk with a professional because they can help you think through what else is eligible for a deduction against that income so that you can reduce those taxes.
You have until April 18th to file this year's return. Well, you can now own a piece of the recently closed Spaghetti Warehouse downtown.
The restaurant closed at the end of March. Now everything inside is being auctioned off with bids starting at $1. The auction runs through May 9th. For Fox 23 and News 102.3 KRMG, I'm Michelle Lynn.
Well, you won't run out of entertaining things to do this weekend, that's for sure.
Besides Easter activities, you can also see Billy Bob Thornton and the Boxmasters tonight at the Hard Rock at 8 o'clock. And if you want a little comedy, Larry the Cable Guy and Jeff Foxworthy play the BOK Saturday at 7:30.
If your panty lines can be seen from aerial photographs, you might be a redneck.
The Tulsa Drillers are in town Friday and Saturday to take on Midland. And if you like Broadway, Dirty Dancing's at the PAC for 2 shows Saturday and Sunday. So no matter what you choose for fun this weekend, just remember this.
Get her done.
Rick Corey, News 102.3 KRMG.
Scientists at NASA believe hydrogen gas found on one of Saturn's moons means it may be capable of supporting life.
We now believe that Enceladus also has a huge ocean. We call these bodies and many others that are like them ocean worlds.
That's NASA's Jim Green explaining. Tulsa's most accurate and dependable 5-day forecast. The 3 big things you need to know, and Rush Limbaugh next.
The ayes are 54, the nays are 45.
It's official.
I, Neil M. Gorsuch, do solemnly swear.
Neil Gorsuch becomes the 101st Justice of the Supreme Court.
I am humbled by the trust placed in me today.
It's a big moment for Trump.
And I got it done in the first 100 days.
This is where Tulsa turns first for the latest developments in the Trump White House. News 102.3 KRMG.
Hey, remember a couple of years ago when we thought we'd save some money with do-it-yourself window coverings?
Unfortunately, yes. I measured.
I ordered.
We both installed. What a disaster.
All the way around. And we're pretty good at do-it-yourself. But obviously, window coverings really call for a pro.
A pro from Budget Blinds.
They're the do-it-for-me people. They bring the store to you, come in and measure, then install it all.
And that style and service for every budget thing they talk about? Turns out it's for real.
Right. Budget Blinds has no surprises pricing and a no questions asked warranty. The best in the business.
That's a no-brainer.
And this spring, you could get up to $500 off on Signature Series window coverings.
Save money and your dignity.
Call 855-BUDGET-BLINDS.
Or go online to budgetblinds.com.
855-BUDGET-BLINDS or budgetblinds.com. Forget do-it-yourself.
Get an expert to do it for you at a price that fits your budget. Call 855-BUDGET-BLINDS now.
Offer good on selected products at participating independently owned and operated franchises only. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
Home values have increased as much as 20%, meaning you have equity in your home. If you're thinking about refinancing your mortgage to cash out that equity, make sure you don't pay any closing costs. I'm Robert Palmer, president of RP Funding, home of the no closing costs refinance. Whether you need the equity from your home to pay off credit cards, student loans, or for home improvements, I'll pay all your closing costs when you refinance with RP Funding. Call 855-773-8634. That's 855-773-8634.
NMLS 7168.
At New Balance Tulsa, they go above expectations and beyond shoes to keep your feet happy and healthy. They carry a wide range of hard-to-find sizes for men and women in multiple widths. New Balance Tulsa has the latest in quality shoe design and the largest selection of New Balance in Oklahoma. You'll always get one-on-one consultations and fittings with experts, all adding up to a comfortable fit that feels like it was made just for you. Experience the difference at New Balance Tulsa in Utica Square.
Tornadoes, straight winds, or intruders can all be deadly. Don't take chances with your loved ones. Protect them with a safe room from KRMG's Take Action partner, Irontide Safe Rooms. IrontideSaferooms.com.
Strong south wind today, 82 degrees and lots of sunshine. Tomorrow, increasing clouds, still breezy in 82, but rain and storms likely tomorrow night and Easter Sunday. Very wet Easter, it appears, 74 the high. Still in the 70s Monday and Tuesday, and the rain sticks around. From Fox 23, I'm Chief Meteorologist James Adelot for News 102.3 KRMG.
At 12:07, partly cloudy and 78 in Tulsa.
Now, the three big things you need to know.
Arkansas plans to execute 7 death row inmates at a pace never seen since the U.S. Supreme Court reauthorized the death penalty in 1976. 2. Drought conditions improved since last month, but moderate to severe drought conditions still continue over much of eastern Oklahoma.
1.
An Afghan general says the death toll from the U.S. bomb is likely to rise. At 12:07, I'm April Hill on Tulsa's 24-hour news, weather, and traffic. News 102.3 KRMG.
I'm Dan Potter, host of the KRMG Morning News. You're listening to Tulsa's severe weather station, News 102.3 KRMG.
And I'm Fox 23 Chief Meteorologist James Adelot. Springtime in Oklahoma means severe weather. Our Storm Center team is staffed and ready to keep you updated every 15 minutes whenever severe weather is in the area or on the way.
Stay connected on air, online, and everywhere you go with the KRMG app.
Now, Rush Limbaugh on News 102.3 KRMG.
And welcome back. It's great to have you here, Rush Limbaugh and the EIB Network, the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Leftist Studies, Advanced Anti-Leftist Studies, here at the Excellence in Broadcasting Network on Friday.
Now, from sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
800-282-2882. If you want to be in the program, it's 800-282-2882. Email address, ilrushfo at eibnet.us. Remember, Open Line Friday, you can talk about whatever you want. We always try to jam more phone calls in on Friday, too. But that depends. It really depends on what kind of detailed answers I have to provide. Call after call after call. You ask simple questions, we move on to the next caller. Ask complex questions, and there's no right or wrong to this. I'm just explaining how we try to take as many phone calls as we can on Open Line Friday. Folks, it's also Good Friday today. And this would be a great time for me to tell you about my brother David's new book. Now, I've mentioned on previous occasions that my brother has become devotedly Christian and religious, and he's fascinated by it in a scholarship sense. He has, like my father, read the Bible numerous times and is constantly seeking to understand it so as to be able to explain it to others and to answer other people's questions. And he's desperately desirous that as many people as possible try to learn the story of Christ and the Gospels, as would anybody be who is passionate about anything. So his books on the subject have been written in the fashion of creating interest rather than preaching answers. And his latest book has just came out this week. It's called The True Jesus. And he wrote the book because, among all these other things I said, he's discovered as he's talked to people about Christianity and Christ that people are intimidated by the Bible. That Christians today, as you know, have become part of a minority. Well, not a minority, but Christians are an approved group that you can criticize them, you can make jokes about them, you can laugh at them, you can impugn them all you want, and they have no recourse. They have to take it. You can't make fun of any other religion. You can't make jokes about any other without there being a price to pay. But in pop culture, you can impugn, you can destroy, you can misrepresent Christianity, you can make fun of Christians all you want and be praised and have a career made out of it. And to my brother, this is distressing, and he has sought ways to try to make it all less intimidating. And that's what this book is. And the first thing about it is he believes that the entire concept of Jesus is misunderstood by virtue of pop culture, by virtue of, and not just pop culture, but in some of the ways that Christianity itself uses to spread the word. His research and his belief is that Jesus, depicted by pop culture, is milquetoast, non-judgmental, uncontroversial. He lived a perfect life, therefore he never made anybody mad. He lived a perfect life, therefore he never did anything wrong. Therefore he lived a perfect life. Everybody loved him. Lived a perfect life, never judged anybody. And now Jesus is used by any number of people to justify their own behavior. And he says this is not who Jesus is. And it's not who Jesus was. I mean, there's even a group now saying, I'm perfect. God made me. And these are people who, nobody's perfect. Which is the whole point. So, he points out in the book of Jesus, says in the Bible that he came to divide us. That he represents the truth. And he knows people are going to reject the truth. He didn't promise that by following him, you would get wealthy and prosperity or have an easy life. Quite the opposite. That if you attempt to live the life of Christ, you're going to be hated. You're going to be despised. You're going to be reviled. You're going to be laughed at and made fun of. That Jesus told us he would divide brother against brother and father against son, mother against daughter, all on the basis of belief or not. And so the milquetoast version of Jesus, all sweetness and light and non-judgmentalism, and everybody dazzled, obviously not the truth. And all of this can only be discovered by actually reading the Gospels. So you might say, well, then why does your brother just say read the Gospels and writing a book about it? Because he's trying to be compelling. He's trying to entice people to get interested enough to actually read the Gospels and learn what he has learned. I talk about this with David frequently because he's devout. And he thinks that if people read the Bible with an open mind and an open heart, that the truth of Jesus and of God will explode on the reader in a mind-blowing fashion. So the purpose of this book, The True Jesus, is to introduce people to the Gospels, make them less intimidating. You know, it's written in such a way you can't even understand it. A lot of people don't understand the language itself, the prose, the way it's all put together. And so this book is to actually serve as an introduction, and most of all to encourage people to read the Bible for themselves rather than relying on other people who have and their interpretation or getting some of it from pop culture or what have you. Now, his book is in two main parts. Chapters 1 through 4 are an introduction to the Gospels. And they start from about 400 BC to the last book of the Old Testament, Malachi, written about the time Jesus was born. So it's about 400 years here, and much happened during those years. A whole bunch of empires were created. The scene was set, in other words, for the birth of Christ. The second part of the book obviously examines the life of Jesus after birth. Chapters 5 through 12, second part, probably the main part of the book, if you want to look at it that way, combines all four Gospels into a unified chronological account. In other words, changes the order and puts it chronologically as it happened, so you don't have to go back and forth and remember where you were. And there's commentary in every section. The main goal with the book is to stimulate readers to read the Gospels for themselves and to be less intimidated at the prospect of doing so. However, if you read this book, you're going to get a head start in the Gospels anyway. It's based on that. It's not just a couple hundred pages trying to motivate you to open the Bible and read it. It's full of details from the Bible and enticements to go further. So I wanted to mention it today. It's a perfect day to mention it. It's Good Friday. And it's my brother's third or fourth book on the subject. And they just keep getting better. It was a massive undertaking. You would not believe. Well, he hibernates. And the sourcing that he uses to put this together, he doesn't just look at the Bible and then start writing down what he thinks of it. He researches what others have said about passage, chapter, verse. If he doesn't quite understand it, he goes to places that he thinks can help him understand it so that he can then phrase it in ways that other people... It's all... Look,